Hi guys. Welcome to my channel. Before we get started, make sure to hit that like button and also subscribe to my channel. So make sure to watch the full video. Reading is such a crucial habit because it allows you to improve your language skills as well as learn a lot. Reading increases vocabulary, stimulates the brain, broadens knowledge, and, most importantly, decreases stress. If you really enjoy reading, there are a few books you must read. These are the 10 books that every student should read. 10 to Kill a Mockingbird. Harper Lee wrote this. The book's 1960 publication saw immediate success. Given that it won the Pulitzer Prize, it is regarded as one of the most significant books that college students should read. The trial of a black man who was charged with raping a white man's daughter is described in the book. Thanks to Lee's use of a young, impressionable narrator, you can plainly observe the brutal hatred toward African American men, and also see how occasionally bad values can prevail over good ones. In addition to telling the tale of a young girl's coming of age and a darker drama about the causes and effects of racism and prejudice, To Kill a Mockingbird discusses how good and evil may coexist within a single community or individual. The book was also adapted into a 1962 American drama film, directed by Robert Mulligan, which you ought to see as well. 9. The Animal Farm. George Orwell wrote this. Animal Farm, a satirical allegorical novella by George Orwell, was first published in England on August 17, 1945. It's one of the most read high school books, according to students. Karl Marx, Joseph Stalin, and Leon Trotsky, among other significant characters in Animal Farm, serve as metaphors for the happenings of the 1917 Russian Revolution. Stalin's terror regime and its corrupt and abusive elements are among the dictatorship that Orwell uses his book as a platform to denounce in general. In order to convey a significant historical event, Orwell employs a distinctive style in this book. 8. The Great Gatsby. F. Scott Fitzgerald wrote this. This book is told from the perspective of Nick Carraway, Jay Gatsby's neighbor. A man of new fortune, Gatsby yearns to reclaim Daisy Buchanan's love after first falling in love with her before enlisting in the military. Fitzgerald's novel highlights the distinction between those who have recently amassed wealth and those whose families have enjoyed generations of material excess, while also describing the demise of the American dream in the 1920s through Gatsby's tragic fate. If you're interested, The Great Gatsby is also a really fun movie to watch. The Leonardo DiCaprio-led film has many award-winning scenes, locations, costumes, directions, and performances. George Orwell wrote this. On June 8, 1949, Secker and Warburg released 1984, Orwell's ninth and final book that he completed during his lifetime. The year is 1984, and the action takes place in London, England. Big Brother is the leader of the party in power, which has total control over its populace and forbids individualism and free thought. Frustrated with his government and drawn to the rebel party, Winston Smith begins to act criminally, such as having a secret relationship with a coworker. This political book by George Orwell serves as a warning to nations that were unsure of how to deal with the spread of communism around the world and demonstrates the many dangers of totalitarianism. Because 1984 is such a fantastic book, it can be found on practically all lists of books to read. 6. The Catcher in the Rye. Journalist J.D. Salinger. The Catcher in the Rye, written by J.D. Salinger, was published in 1951 as a novel and in serial form from 1945 to 1946. Teenagers read it regularly because of its themes of agony, alienation, and criticism of society's superficiality, even though it was created with adults in mind. Several languages have also been translated it. Golden Caulfield, who is presently a prisoner at a mental facility, tells his narrative about being expelled from school and his outrage at the duplicity of everyone around him as a 16-year-old. All of Salinger's book's themes, self-isolation and sorrow, adolescence and growth, adult hypocrisy, and superficiality, are covered. 5. Death of a Salesman. Written by Arthur Miller. In 1949, American author Arthur Miller created the Broadway drama Death of a Salesman. The play opened on Broadway in February 1949 and played there for 742 performances. The Lohman family is the focus of Death of a Salesman. Willie is the father, Linda is the mother. and Biff and Happy are their two boys. Willie, a failed salesman, is never able to live the American dream because of his misguided view of reality. Miller's piece took home the Tony Award for Best Play as well as the Pulitzer Prize for Drama. It is also one of the popular books that are recommended for pupils to read. 4 Fahrenheit 451. Ray Bradbury, author. In 1953, American author Ray Bradbury released his apocalyptic book Fahrenheit 451. The work, which is generally cited as one of his greatest, examines a future American society where reading is outlawed and any books found are set ablaze by firemen. The protagonist of Bradbury's novel is Montag, a firefighter. Montag becomes dissatisfied with his life and those around him after meeting a 17-year-old girl who, in contrast to the rest of civilization, loves people, nature, and deep conversations. This well-known humorous book is one of the most read books by pupils. 3 Lord of the Flies. Written by William Golding. Lord of the Flies was published in 1954 by Nobel Prize-winning British novelist William Golding. The books are about a group of British boys who are trapped on a deserted island after their plane crashes and must learn to work together to survive. Unfortunately, disagreements turn violent when there are no rules in place, and the boys' feral and violent tendencies cause them to turn on one another. This is one of the best works for students. Using images like the beast and the conch shell, Golding explores topics like civilization versus barbarism, human depravity at its core, and the loss of innocence. 9 of Mice and Men. Written by John Steinbeck. 2 laborers named George and Lenny form the story's central relationship. They both share a desire to one day buy a piece of land. However, their desire will never come true. And this tale also demonstrates how the American dream is unattainable. Another reoccurring theme is loneliness, as evidenced by the following quote from the Black Stablehand Crooks. A man craves somebody nearby. I tell you, a man gets sick when he's too lonely. Steinbeck 80. An early draft of the story was destroyed by Steinbeck's dog, and the majority of the characters are based on people he knew. To name a couple of interesting facts regarding this reading choice for children. 1 Romeo and Juliet. Shakespeare is the author. The most well-known book there is this one. Early in his writing career, William Shakespeare created the tragedy Romeo and Juliet, which tells the story of 2 young Italian loves who are star-crossed and whose death ultimately unites their conflicting families. Romeo and Juliet were one of Shakespeare's most regularly performed plays while he was alive and is still produced frequently today. It has also been adapted into a number of films. Due to its numerous depictions in movies, television shows, and literary works, Romeo and Juliet's narrative is well known to most people. Shakespeare's language is difficult. Therefore, many people ponder why it is still taught in schools and recognized as a book suitable for students. It's easy to understand the response. Shakespeare's play addresses issues of love in relationships, jealousy, violence, and competition despite being hundreds of years old. These all existed back then and still do in our contemporary world. You will undoubtedly enjoy learning from and reading any of these books if reading is your thing. Also, if movies or film festivals interest you. So, that's it for today. We hope you enjoyed the video. Use the comments section below to tell us what you think about the video. Also, make sure to subscribe to our channel and click the bell button to be notified of all the latest videos.